We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, and ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. The framers of the Constitution had a clear vision. However, a lot had to happen before the United States could become a nation. In 1492, Columbus made the first of 4 trips to the Caribbean on 3-span ships named the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. The trip to America was made again in 1620 when pilgrims from Plymouth, England, signed the Mayflower Compact before landing in Plymouth, Massachusetts. The pilgrims were fleeing from religious persecution, but were still being oppressed by the British. In 1773, colonists dressed as Mohawks dumped tea from the British East India Company into the Boston Harbor. The colonists were infuriated by taxation without representation, but the redcoats refused to relent. And in 1776, the Continental Congress published the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia, announcing the colonists' intent to form a new nation. The colonists deftly defied the British and obtained liberty. In 1789, in New York, George Washington was granted the full powers and responsibility of the presidency of the U.S. Constitution. The area of the United States doubled when, in 1803, the purchase of Louisiana from France prompted westward exploration by pioneers such as Lewis and Clark and Congressman Davy Crockett. Still bitter towards the colonies, British ships were taking Americans hostage. However, the War of 1812 gave confidence to the U.S. to write the Monroe Doctrine, warning Europeans not to attempt to colonize the Americas. However, not everyone in the United States believed that all men are created equal. In 1820, Henry Clay worked out the Missouri Compromise, allowing Missouri to enter the Union as a slave state and Maine as a free state. Tedious tension tightened. The Compromise of 1850, the Fugitive Slave Act, and the Dred Scott Decision preceded the secession of the southern states. As the pot of Civil War had begun to boil, America was still growing. In 1853, after the Mexican War and the Gadsden Purchase, President Polk's belief in the doctrine of manifest destiny was realized. Finally boiling over in 1861, the Civil War began when President Abraham Lincoln went to war with the southern states, which had seceded from the Union. After the assassination of Abraham Lincoln and the death of about 620,000 men, the Civil War would come to an end. In 1865, General Robert E. Lee surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia. After years of reconstruction, the southern states would become part of the Union again. But the battle for equal rights was just beginning. In 1868, the 14th Amendment made all former slaves U.S. citizens and paved the way for the civil rights movement. Financially, the U.S. was prospering. During the late 1800s, tycoons like Vanderbilt, Rockefeller, Carnegie, and Swift fueled the nation's industrial age by developing American resources. Desiring for more nations to become free, in 1898, Theodore Roosevelt and his Rough Riders defeated the Spanish at the Battle of San Juan Hill, were trying to help the Cubans win their independence. America became a desirable destination for many people across the world. From 1820 to 1930, more than 37 million immigrants came to America seeking freedom and the opportunity to increase their personal wealth. Meanwhile, in 1917, President Wilson asked Congress to declare war on the Central Powers, 2 years after German U-boats sank the Lusitania, killing American citizens. After the war, President Wilson desired world peace and created the League of Nations. However, World War II began in 1939 when Hitler invaded Poland. The U.S. tried to stay out of the war, but on December 7, 1941, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, causing the U.S. to join the Allies in World War II. The war raged in Europe and Asia until 1945. Unfortunately, a new enemy of democracy was on the move. In 1949, the U.S. and its allies formed NATO to resist the spread of Soviet communism. Still working on freedom for all, in 1954, in Brown v. Board of Education, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the segregation of public schools by race was unconstitutional. Because of great rivalry between the U.S. and the Soviets, great advancements were made in the race to space. In 1969, U.S. astronauts Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin were the first men to walk on the moon. Freedom was about to be attacked. On September 11, 2001, the World Trade Center in New York City was destroyed by Muslim terrorists, beginning America's war on terrorism. In order to keep freedom secure, the Founding Fathers fashioned the Bill of Rights. They are 1. Freedoms, 2. Occupants, 3. Quartering soldiers, 4. Warrants, 5. Cannot testify against self, 6. Right to a speedy trial, 7. Right to a jury, 8. Cruel and unusual punishment, 9. People's rights, 10. States' rights. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and and that they are endowed by their Creator to certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We, the people, continue our quest for a more perfect union still today.